I want to be very clear on something. I am not trying to deflect in this video on something that Mr. D'Souza said in his video. I'm rather trying to come to an understanding that one thing that he said isn't really significant to another directly. Indirectly it is. It's a fair thing to say that indirectly the two are related. I wanted, though, to talk today on the subject of one or the other on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Monday, the 13th of September of 2021. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble on the podcast and on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. My subject again today is one or the other. And I'm going to go ahead and read my notes so that you have some idea what I'm talking about, and then we're going to get into it. Let's say I know that if I give someone my car, it'll cause the car manufacturers for whom I work to create another to supply my needs. Does that really negate the idea that I gave the car to someone? I can't see how. When you talk about the idea that the military-industrial complex will have reason to produce more arms as a result of existing ones having been left in, say, Afghanistan, that doesn't do away with the fact that you left arms in Afghanistan. Because that's true, we still have to ask the question, were the weapons in question left there on purpose or by accident? Put simply, the idea that more tanks, helicopters, or rifles need to be produced to replace the ones left in a given place doesn't do away with the question of intent where leaving them is concerned. Equally important, it's not a foregone conclusion that more armament need be produced to replace that which was left. But the important thing is, whether or not that's the case, you cannot get away with not answering the question, was it malice or rank incompetence? There's another point here too. You have to ask the question, at what level? Was the evil or bungling from the top, or did it occur at low levels? Don't be confused. You can be sure if it wasn't something the commander-in-chief authorized or didn't, he's still responsible. That's not a question. Then again, you can also argue his advisors were horrible one way or the other. Do certain fat cats make more money as a result of arms being left in a place like Afghanistan? Does that answer why the equipment in question certainly some of it at least fully functional, was abandoned? Not in my view. Not in my view. So, look. To be clear, I'm not arguing that there's not something to what Dinesh had to say about whether or not the military-industrial complex fat cats are going to make a bunch of money out of the fact that all of that armament was left in Afghanistan. And in fact, I can make actually a more compelling argument. I can say that they need to up their game because the stuff that was left there, they need to make better stuff than that stuff that was left there if they want to be able to compete with the existing stuff that's out there, right? They need to make better stuff. You can make that argument. It still doesn't answer the primary question to me. The primary question is this: were those arms left there on purpose or by accident? I'm a former member of the military. A lot of folks know that. I did about 9 years in the Air Force. And I know full well that we had emergency destruction plans that we were supposed to crack open if there was any possibility that our equipment could fall into hands that it wasn't supposed to be used by. Anybody who watched what happens in Vietnam knows that this is no new practice. You saw as they dumped tons of equipment, millions or billions of dollars worth of equipment into oceans and other waterways, by way of destruction. They destroyed them by doing that. They made them worthless by doing that. You watch them do that. Well, it was true for the Pueblo when they got caught. It was true, quote, caught. Then they weren't actually... There are questions about that, but I won't get into the details. It's more than this video can bear. But the point is this: even if you can't take it with you, Even if you can't take it with you, there's almost always emergency destruction. And making something worthless by, say, taking its firing pin or something like that, you still give them most of the equipment and they can probably bring it back up to snuff. But here's my question for those of you who say, oh, it was worthless equipment. Then what was up with those Taliban guys driving around in Humvees and MRAPs and various things and carrying U.S. weapons and I believe firing them in videos? What was up with that? How do you explain that? Now, I'm going to ask this question again, though, because this is what's important. This is what's significant. Whose, quote, fault is it that all of that stuff got left in Afghanistan? And lots of it apparently functional. I have news for you. If the Commander-in-Chief, one Joseph R. Biden, were to take the responsibility that he should, he would have no way to say anything but that the responsibility was his own. He's the Commander-in-Chief. He's the guy in control of those entities that were in Afghanistan from the United States. It's his, quote, fault, end of quote. It's his. And there's no way to get rid of that blame. Now I'm going to say this again. Is it possible, or ask it again, is it possible that the people who advised him did a horribly bad job of doing so? Yes. But even if that's true, he has a responsibility to be the guy where the buck stops. That's his, and no one else can hold that for him. Not his vice, not his cabinet, not his advisors, not the Joint Chiefs of Staff, not the secretaries of the various services. None of those is responsible. Not the generals, not even the ones on the ground. He is responsible for ensuring that that equipment is destroyed or deployed, one or the other, back to the United States, to other countries, whatever it happens to be. And I'm going to say this again. This is just another example, in my opinion, of either poor planning or malice. And I'm not sure which it is. I can't sit here and tell you, well, I know it was malice or I know it was poor planning. All I know is that one or the other must be true and that Mr. Biden cannot be, quote, let off, end of quote, where this is concerned. It just can't happen. He's the guy who's responsible for that. I just said the same thing if Trump did something like that. In fact, he may have very well done. And I'll just tell you right now, if he did, he was responsible for it because he was the guy in charge. The Commander-in-Chief, the Chief Executive of the United States, is the President. His job, like it or not, is to ensure that operations occur as they're supposed to. Now, the hope is that he or she, whoever the Commander-in-Chief is at the time, has a military, has advisors, has a cabinet who can help him or her to make proper, correct decisions with regard to what should or shouldn't happen. That's the hope. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's something he or she should count on. Of course, the better a people person he or she is, the better he or she is at bringing good resources to him or herself, the more likely he or she is going to have that leader. I'm going to say he for now because it's been he to this point. The more likely it is that he's going to do well. But I'm just going to tell you, I don't know if it was malice, i.e. intent, or if it was accidental, but that equipment should never have been left. And by the way, the people on the ground should never have been left. And of course, that's the more important point. I bring the equipment into question because in the future, the chances that it's going to be used for horrible things in various places is extremely high based on the individuals that put their grubby mitts on it. Those people are not going to take that equipment and go, oh, we'll just keep this around in case we need it someday. They're going to take it, they're going to store it away right enough, but then when it comes time for them to use it for some nefarious or incorrect purpose, they're going to do it. And this is what I wanted to get across today. This is what I hope you understand. It's a question of whether it was intentional or accidental, and in either case, it is either a sign of rank incompetence or malevolence or maliciousness. I don't know a better way to put that. Okay, I need to wrap up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Monday, the 13th of September, 2021. That means tomorrow will be Tuesday, the 14th, it's the 13th today, in case I said that incorrectly. The 14th of September of 2021, tomorrow, Tuesday the 14th of September. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a plus or a positive rumble, or a minus or a negative rumble, or the boxing glove is also a plus, I guess, on Rumble if you choose to do that, that being my preferred platform. You can give me a thumbs up or a like, or a thumbs down or a dislike on YouTube. I love it when people do comments, and the comments are actually reasonable comments that relate to the videos, and particularly if they bring me things that I hadn't thought about. I'm okay with you saying, yes, I agree with you, or whatever. That's fine. You can do that as well. But obviously, I like to hear where people disagree so that I can kind of build my knowledge and my understanding of what's going on. I hope that you find what I do useful one way or another. Today, by the way, we talked about one or the other. And tomorrow we're going to talk about vaccine passports and PHI. And if you don't know what that is, you might want to tune in tomorrow, because it might be very useful for you to hear just a little bit about why vaccine passports, at least on one front, are maybe not a great idea. Hope you're having a good day today. Hope your week is starting out good as well. Hope things are going good for you, and hopefully we will see you again on Tuesday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Monday, the 13th of September of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.